Your alarm goes off at 6 a.m. You slept 8 hours, 8 full hours. You did everything right. And yet you hit snooze, then snooze again. And when you finally drag yourself up, you feel like you got hit by a truck. Foggy, heavy, like your brain is still buffering at 2 p.m. Meanwhile, there's that one person you know who sleeps less than you, wakes up before their alarm, and is somehow annoyingly cheerful at 5:30 in the morning. And you've probably told yourself, they're just a morning person. I'm not built like that. Here's the uncomfortable truth. That's a lie you've been telling yourself. Waking up with energy has almost nothing to do with being a morning person. It has everything to do with what you do in the 8 hours before the alarm. And most of that comes down to a handful of decisions you're making wrong every single night. By the end of this video, you're going to know the exact 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. routine that makes waking up feel effortless. My name is ABJ, and I spend way too much time thinking about sleep and energy. If you're someone who sleeps a full night but still wakes up exhausted and foggy, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because look, I used to be the snooze button guy. 5 alarms, coffee before I could form a sentence. And what fixed it wasn't sleeping more. It was fixing how I slept. Let me show you the system. Here's the thing, most people get completely wrong. They think sleep is about quantity. 8 hours, that's the magic number, right? So they chase the number and still wake up wrecked. But sleep isn't measured in hours. It's measured in cycles. Your body moves through roughly 90-minute cycles all night, and each one has light sleep, deep sleep, and REM. Deep sleep is where your body physically repairs. REM is where your brain files away memories and resets your mood. And here's the number that should genuinely bother you. Sleep scientists estimate that most of your deep restorative sleep happens in the first half of the night. The back half is lighter, so two people can both sleep 8 hours and have completely different mornings because one protected their deep sleep and the other shredded it without knowing. Waking up tired isn't a how long problem, it's a what quality problem, and quality is something you control. Now you might be thinking, okay, ABJ, but I fall asleep fine, so my sleep must be good. Falling asleep fast doesn't mean sleeping well. In fact, passing out the instant your head hits the pillow is often a sign you're sleep deprived, not well rested. Stay with me. This is where it gets interesting. Here's what most people don't realize. The reason you wake up tired was decided hours before you woke up. Your 5 a.m. energy is built at 9 p.m. You're not a victim of your alarm. You're the architect of your morning. You just didn't know you were on the clock. So let me walk you through the exact routine, hour by hour. 3 phases: the wind down, the sleep, and the launch. And I'll give you the why behind each one, because if you don't understand why it works, you won't stick to it. 9 p.m. This is where the whole thing lives or dies, and it's the part everyone skips. Your body runs on a chemical called melatonin, the "it's time to sleep" signal. Your brain starts releasing it as the world gets dark. The problem: the single brightest thing in your house at 9 p.m. is the screen 4 inches from your face. Bright light, especially the bluish light from phones and laptops, tells your brain it's still daytime and slams the brakes on melatonin. So step 1, at 9 p.m., the overhead lights go off. Lamps only. Warm, dim light. You're telling your body sunset is happening. This one change alone shifts your whole nervous system towards sleep. Step 2, the phone goes on the charger. Across the room, not next to the bed. And I know. I use it as my alarm. Buy a $3 alarm clock. Because here's what the phone by your bed actually does. It turns your bed into a scrolling station instead of a sleep station. Your brain builds associations with places. If you scroll in bed every night, your brain learns bed equals awake and alert. You're literally training yourself into insomnia, one night at a time. Step 3, from 9 to 9:45. Do something boring and analog. Read a physical book, stretch, shower, journal, whatever. This isn't fluff. You're giving your brain a runway to slow down. You can't go from 60 miles an hour to parked instantly. The wind down is the off-ramp. Now, you might be thinking, that's 45 minutes I don't have. Here's the trade. That 45 minutes of wind down can be the difference between 5 hours of quality deep sleep and 8 hours of garbage. You're not losing 45 minutes. You're buying back your entire morning. Lights out around 9:45. Let's talk about what actually protects the sleep itself, because just being in bed isn't the goal. First, temperature. This is the most underrated sleep hack there is. Your body needs to drop its core temperature by a degree or two to trigger and maintain deep sleep. A warm room physically blocks deep sleep. Sleep researchers generally point to somewhere around 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit as the sweet spot for most people. Cooler than you'd guess. Crack a window, drop the thermostat, kick a foot out of the blanket. A cold room is free deep sleep. Second, darkness. Even small amounts of light hitting your closed eyelids can suppress melatonin and pull you out of deep stages. Blackout curtains or a $5 sleep mask. Cover the little LED lights on your electronics. You want the room cave dark. Third, and this is the big one nobody wants to hear, no food and no screens in that last stretch before bed. When you eat late, your body is busy digesting instead of repairing, and your core temperature stays up, which we just said kills deep sleep. Try to close the kitchen a couple hours before lights out. Here's the analogy I want you to remember. Think of deep sleep like charging your phone. A cool, dark, quiet room is a fast charger. You plug in for 7 hours and hit 100%. A warm, bright, noisy room is a broken, frayed cable. You're plugged in all night and wake up at 40%. Same 8 hours in bed. Totally different charge. That's the whole difference between the person who bounces up at 5 a.m. and the person hitting snooze. Now the wake up. And this is where most people sabotage all the good work they just did. The alarm goes off. What do? For most people, snooze. Here's why snoozing is a trap. When your alarm first rings, there's a decent chance you're in a lighter stage of sleep, the natural time to wake. You hit snooze, drift back down, and your brain starts descending into a new sleep cycle. 9 minutes later, the alarm rips you out of the middle of it. That groggy hit by a truck feeling has a name: sleep inertia, and snoozing is the fastest way to manufacture it. The move is brutal but simple. Alarm rings, feet on the floor, no negotiation. Because your phone's across the room, you have to stand up to turn it off. That's the whole point. Then the single most powerful thing you can do for your energy: get bright light in your eyes immediately. In summer, step outside or throw open the curtains. In winter or the dark, turn on every bright light you've got, or better, a cheap sunrise lamp. Morning light is the off switch for melatonin and the start button for cortisol. And I don't mean stress cortisol, I mean the healthy morning spike that makes you feel awake and alert. Light in your eyes within a few minutes of waking is what tells your brain, loud and clear, the day has started, and one more. Drink a glass of water right away. You just went 7 or 8 hours with zero fluids. A big chunk of that morning grogginess is simple dehydration. Water before coffee, always. A BJ, my schedule won't allow 9 p.m. Fine, the clock times aren't sacred. The sequence is. If your night starts at 11, just shift the whole thing. Wind down at 11, lights out at 11:45. The rules: dim light, phone away, cool dark room, no snooze, morning light, work at any hour, keep the structure, move the numbers. I've tried waking up early and it never sticks. Right. Because you tried to fix the morning while ignoring the night. You can't willpower your way out of bad sleep. Fix the wind down first, and the early morning stops being a fight. What about weekends? Try to keep your wake-up time within about an hour of your weekday time. Sleeping till noon on Saturday gives you what scientists call social jet lag. You basically fly your body to a different time zone and back every weekend, and Monday feels like the worst kind of hangover. Consistency is the secret ingredient nobody wants to hear. Let me leave you with this. Picture 2 versions of you, 1 month from now. Version 1 keeps the current setup. Phone in bed, scrolling till midnight, warm, bright room, 5 alarms, snoozing through all of them, coffee just to feel human. Tired at 8 a.m., crashing at 2 p.m., wired again at 11 p.m., trapped in the loop. Version 2 runs this routine. Dim lights at 9, phone across the room, cool dark cave, up at 5 before the alarm, sunlight and water, and a 2-hour head start on the entire world before most people have even opened their eyes. Same body. Same genetics. The only thing that changed was a handful of decisions made the night before. You were never not a morning person. You were just running the wrong nighttime program. And a program can be rewritten. So, here's your homework. Tonight, not someday. You don't have to do all of it. Just start with the 3 that matter most. Dim the lights at 9, put your phone across the room, and make your room cold and dark. That's it. Do those 3 things for 1 week, and I promise the first morning you wake up before your alarm feeling genuinely rested, you'll understand why I care about this so much. If this helped you out, you know what to do. Hit subscribe, smash the like button, and drop a comment telling me which one of these you're trying tonight. I read every single one. Now go set that room cold, and I'll see you at 5 a.m.